All right, up here in the top right of Whirlwind, this is actually, you know, kind of an interesting map choice. There are a lot of other maps in the pool that these players should be more familiar with, but Creator.Prime is going to be the blue Protoss in the top right, and down here in the bottom right, it's the guy who just got 4 kills straight against a team that defeated his team in GSTL finals not too long ago. It's StarTale.PartinG.
Yeah, PartinG's been playing very, very well, and I've got to hand it to him. I mean, he's had a lot of different looks. He saw a very macro build from Mario at the beginning, but he was able to pull off his 8-gate and continue to do pressure and damage from there on out. He stared down a cannon rush and won in game number 2. He held off quick aggression from ranking Prime in game number 3 in the form of 2 racks, and in the last game was able to execute a really cool proxy 4-gate blink build.
That's right, and I'm a fan of the aggression, so I'm glad glad it worked out. It did look kind of grim briefly. Beyond had pretty superior forces. It's just a matter of positioning, as it always is with those Blink Stalkers, keeping them alive, hitting very valuable targets. He killed so many workers when he first showed up that Beyond was never really fully able to recover. He stopped the bunkers from ever getting down. He just had a lot of minor victories that added up into one big snowball of victories, and obviously he won the map, and now here he is against Creator.
Yeah, and nothing looking too out of the ordinary. Looks like Creator decided to put down his gateway and his assimilator one supply quicker than his opponent, 12-13 versus 13-14, but other than that, everything's looking pretty normal. PartinG deciding to drop down second gas before his cybernetics core, and that's not too out of the ordinary. While he could do something very, very cheesy and greedy off of that, a lot of Protoss players have been doing this with 2 on each gas and moving into a 3-stalker build afterwards.
Yeah, and PvP is, it's kind of tough to just, you know, throw out things and talk about different builds, because there are only a couple that you end up seeing in PvP. But when sparks start to fly, the units start microing around, that's when things actually get really exciting. That's when PvP is a lot of fun to watch, when you see unit control in these even smaller battles, something like 4 Stalkers against 3 Stalkers and a Zealot, something like that. You know, it's kind of hard to know who's going to win those if one player has superior control. That's when things really get fun. But the cybernetics core is going to finish now for both PartinG and Creator, and we'll see which direction they go after the tech has a chance to diverge a little bit.
Gateway coming up for PartinG, a second gateway I should say, and he did save up about an additional 60 gas over his opponent. Creator dumping that very quickly, though, into a sentry. PartinG still hasn't quite shown his hand as to where he wants to go with his tech.
All right, and with just the sentry out now for Creator, that is a possible. I don't know. We'll like it really. He's got a lot of options, and just saving up gas now to really show us what he's planning.
Yeah, I mean, this there's a lot of different looks we could see, and there's a Twilight Council, so probably that 3-stalker into Blink Expand build that we saw Huck use actually the other day. But Creator, on the other hand, just 2-gate Stargate.
Yeah, you're talking about the Huck versus Genius game.
Yeah.
And the very first game of Slayers versus EG yesterday, Huck actually was able to use Blink quite effectively against Genius and his several Immortals, but force fields really were the reason that all came together. So we'll see if PartinG's going to make use of some sentries as he chugs along with this Twilight Council and this Blink build that he's got in mind.
And he needs to save up for that 150 gas and, or I'm sorry, the 150 minerals, and indeed does. So Blink is on the way. Now Huck, you know, continuously produced Stalkers and expanded out of this. We'll see if PartinG has the same idea or if he's got something else in mind. He does have a probe suspiciously tucked away in the top left-hand corner, but nothing's come of that quite yet.
Yeah, Creator, on the other hand, building a Phoenix first. He's going to need, obviously, more of them to be able to do some probe line harassment, stuff like that. He could discover this probe and then lift it, and then look at it.
That's true.
And, like, you know, just
observe it,
like look at it very closely and see what there is to see. But obviously he's going to need more than that. He's got a robotics facility coming up now, and PartinG going full speed ahead with Blink Stalkers. This could actually be really good for PartinG because Phoenixes, obviously, they can lift, but they don't really have great DPS. If PartinG were to overrun him with Blink Stalkers, obviously they have the position advantage, because they can blink right underneath the Phoenixes. If Creator doesn't get some Immortals out quickly, things could actually get hairy.
Yeah, and the Phoenixes are pretty far across the map. I mean, this first one is going to get a good look at everything. He sees 2 gates, he sees the Twilight Council, and he immediately checks for an expansion, of course. And upon not seeing that, how does he react? He's still on 1 base, warping in additional units up at the front, but the Blink Stalker count is already getting quite high.
one sentry he's going to quickly react with, and you know, not actually building any more Phoenixes, but when the robotics facility is done, you should see an Immortal in production very quickly. Even though Observers, you know, can be nice, he needs some defense against these Stalkers right now.
And he needs gas. He still doesn't have 100 gas. There we go, and an Immortal is popping out. The Blink Stalker count is continuing to increase. See what he wants to do. He wants to brute force his way up that ramp. There's still quite a bit of energy left on these sentries, though, and it's going to be difficult to get that done.
Yeah, one big key difference between the Blink build here and the Blink build we just saw is no robotics facility for Parting. He doesn't have an Observer, doesn't have the means to make an Observer, but he is actually going to continually make probes to replace the ones that these Phoenixes camped overhead are actually slowly dismantling. But once we're out of force field energy, eventually Parting is going to get a Stalker in there and be able to blink up.
He is, but now there's the Immortal, there's Guardian Shield, so
like
it looks
we're
like
ready to go.
Yeah, he may want to engage us here in a bit. We'll find out. Parting does use that blink. Very cool maneuver there to actually blink one Stalker onto the ramp so he gains vision and can blink the rest of them up. He picks off the Immortal very, very quickly, but the Zealots are starting to get in and do some pretty good damage now, and it's going to require very good control from Parting once again.
Parting actually divided and conquered very quickly there, trying to stay away from the forces as a cohesive unit. Now the Phoenixes are back, but the Immortal's already dead. Here comes a new one. He's going to focus it down extremely fast. The Immortal only got a couple of shots off. Now the Phoenixes are going to be targeted. They don't really have enough to lift, so Parting's in pretty good shape still, and he's going to continue to warp in on the low ground. If he does that blink maneuver again, that'll be pretty cool. He does actually see the Zealots just barely on the tip of that terrain there, but the force field will eventually vanish sometime in the near future. And he should be able to do the double blink maneuver again.
He just warped in another sentry.
Gotcha. When it's flickering like that, I couldn't see them. There it goes. Another force field being placed. Yeah, is it there? Is it not there? I don't know.
He's trying to be able to blink something up there,
he wants to do it as quickly as possible, so he's actually blinking some of them to the left and right.
Okay.
Oh, now's his moment if he wants to do it again.
And he is going to. Is able to get out to the side there. There's nothing being produced out of the robotics facility at the moment. There's only a couple of Zealots on the ground. They're all being taken out very, very quickly. 3 of them being occupied by just 3 Stalkers. Look at the control out of Parting as he keeps most of his forces alive there. He picks off most of the Phoenixes as well. There's just 2 remaining, and things are starting to look pretty bleak.
Oh, there is a second one. It was kind of underneath the Stalker. They did actually manage to pick one off, but there's still a lot standing, and he's warping in Zealots now. Parting realizes Blink is not even as necessary as it once was. He can send in a Zealot to start to pick apart the probe line if he can keep all these forces distracted. And suddenly Creator with only 29 supply. Parting only has 37, but this is very obviously going in Parting's favor. The Immortal is out. He can focus it down pretty quickly. Here comes a fresh wave of Stalkers, and there's the GG.
Wow.
Parting has all killed Prime.
Yes, he has. 5 straight games against a very good lineup set out by Prime. We saw Maru, Classic, Marine King, Beyond, and then Creator. So definitely 8-teamers for them, but they all fell one after another to the might of Parting.
Parting, very, very not super surprising, but has to feel great about the opponents that he took out. I mean, obviously he's got wins against all these players individually, and can definitely stand a match even in longer matches. But these one-ofs, these best-of-ones, taking out Maru, MKP, Beyond, and Creator, when they all have an opportunity to think about it, they all have an opportunity to watch the games before and figure out what they want to do to him. And Prime got to pick the maps, they got to pick the players, and still couldn't add up to Parting's skill there. That's
actually a pretty big development as well in the standings as well, because Prime is now down 1 and 2. They have to rely on some sort of a 3-way tie situation down at the bottom of the bracket to have success moving forward. StarTale gains the critical win that they needed. Of course, they were scheduled to play against TSL, but there was some issue with the replays. We're going to see that next week. So if they keep this winning streak alive, maybe they'll have a shot in the playoffs.
That's right. StarTale, I mean, obviously there is a potential for a 3-way tie to happen, and with the win over Prime, that's certainly going to help. And obviously map score would be certainly a huge factor if there is that 3-way tie at 1 and 2, with Parting scooping all the kills there 5-0. That's definitely going to help their map score. So definitely a great job by Parting. I'm sure StarTale is going to be very appreciative of that.
All right, well, there we have it, folks. That is it for tonight. Very short cast for us, but well, that's what happens when Parting dominates. So hope you guys enjoyed it, though. We will be back tomorrow with ATN Type versus Complexity, and then on Friday we're actually going to have a very cool match that I'm looking forward to. It's going to be Current Karate Esports Club going up against Empire. So I think that's a very evenly fought match, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that pans out.
I like Karate playing against anybody these days because they're just so good. Lucifron and Vortex both just smashing people. Even Alistor, McCole, or what'd you say it was?
Mikoel. Yes.
Alistor and Mikoel actually do some damage here and there as well, and I mean they're just fun to watch. They've been doing so well in the last couple of months. I'm excited to see how far they can actually progress.
Okay, well that is it for us tonight. We'll be back again tomorrow with more StarCraft 2 content. Thanks very much for joining us. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube as @IGNProLeague. If you're on twitch.tv/IGNProLeague, please click on the follow button down at the bottom. It really does help us. But have a wonderful night, and we will see you tomorrow.